Members of City Council, please attend the call meeting of the City Council to be held in City Council Chamber, 801 Crawford Street, 5 p.m., Tuesday, April 26, 2016, for the purpose of a public work session. In addition, you may consider a motion to go into closed meeting by order of the mayor. Council members, since we are in the chamber, if you could indicate your presence electronically.
Oh, I'm sorry.
7 members of council are present. Members of council, we're here in the chamber this evening for a Historic Preservation Commission appeal for 120 Mount Vernon Avenue. Normally, you give about 5 or 10 minutes to the commission, 5 or 10 minutes to the applicant, and then you all deliberate. So if council's okay, at this time, we will call forward the staff person. The commission member, sorry. If you would give us your name so we know who's presenting.
Good evening. I'm Rusty Long. I'm an architect and the chairman of the Preservation Commission.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm here tonight briefly to describe the rationale that the commission had in this particular case. This was an application to replace slate roofing on a property in Port Norfolk. About 3/4 of the roof is currently slate, and about 1/4 is already architectural shingle. The city's guidelines established in 2008 identify several roofing options for this neighborhood based on the case of the individual structure. In this case, a slate roof, according to the guidelines, should be retained or repaired whenever possible. Based on the applicant's assessment, and we agreed with this roof is beyond repair and does require a full replacement. For a roof replacement, Section 4 of the same guideline states the following: replace roof coverings when necessary using new material that matches the original roof covering in composition, size, shape, color, and texture. Of those key variables, the proposed material in this case matched both composition and color. It was a good gray, and it mimicked the way that slate roof was installed. However, it did not meet the other 3 criteria. The shape of the asphalt shingles cannot replicate the banded detail of the existing slate roof. The size of the asphalt shingles is a different thickness and different spacing from the original slate roofing. And the smooth texture of the slate roof cannot be matched with the asphalt shingles that were proposed. Based on this above rationale, the commission recommended the applicant instead consider replacing the roofing with an approved synthetic slate, which is allowed by the guidelines. Such a roof would meet all 5 of those variables at less cost than genuine slate roofing, but at a greater cost than the asphalt shingle that was requested. We understand that economic realities of both the property and the applicant were the primary area of concern in both the original application and in this appeal. Our bylaws explicitly state that economic considerations should not be a primary factor for us and that the guidelines should govern our decision. So based on that, that's how we decided this particular case. And we have a specific meeting to discuss as a result of this application and a couple other appeals on this topic in this same room tomorrow night to make sure that if we are going to change the guidelines, as has been suggested by some applicants, that we make sure that we're representing the intent of the full 182 individuals that own similar properties in the neighborhoods of Parkview and Port Norfolk. That's all that I have, unless there are specific questions for me. I will see the rest of my time.
Questions? Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Meek?
So the one that we're having on.
There you go.
About changing the roof.
No,
Okay,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Appreciate it, Mr. Long. Thanks for your service, sir.
Thank you.
If the applicant is available, they would come forward. State your name, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. David Kuhn. I appreciate your time tonight to go over this appeal.
Okay, you can start.
Thank you. Again, just to reiterate a little bit, this is about 1.5 years in process. First application was back in 2014. just to reiterate, on my roof, it's one of the larger houses in Port Norfolk. For a complete roof replacement, you're talking a six-figure roof, about $100,000. Through the estimates I've received from Stevens Roofing and other people, just to cover the leaks that are currently there, I'm looking anywhere between $6,000 to $10,000 just for the immediate leaks, and then about 15 grand for the next few years every year, just to be able to get it to where it's to be able to be upheld. Based off of that, in conjunction with some of the other things that are going on, during my tenure there, I've replaced walls in my house about 4 times due to moisture, mold. I contacted the city last year in reference to that too, to see if there was an exemption or some kind of waiver for health concerns, because my son had been brought to the hospital last summer 3 times for respiratory issues, things of that nature. But one does not exist for these cases. In reference to that also, it is almost a 150-year-old roof. The slate will fail in the next, 15, 20 years, which will require, again, full roof replacement. All the fasteners for that roof are deteriorating, so I have slate falling off the roof. I just had one the other day break my heating and AC $10,000 unit outside, broke the cover on it. Plus, I have small children, so it creates a safety risk. So realistically, even though the HPC guidelines do not take financials into account, realistically, there is not going to be a way to replace that roof with the original materials. The materials I had selected, as far as the architectural grade shingle, have been approved. And those cases were overturned at the end of last year too for slate roof replacements, which is why I'm back here again. Last time I didn't come in front of the council. I stopped prior to. I kind of saw the hope with the 4 overturned cases last year to be able to approve that based off of the facts in this case here. Even the chosen products I've used are the highest end of the architectural shingle. They do have the scallops.
They are or are not?
They are, yes, sir.
Oh.
It's the same as it was approved for the previous cases. They do have the scallops. They're 3 times thicker than the normal shingle, so they still give the thickness, a lot of the same shadow lines. It's still a slate color. And my house is about almost 3.5 stories. It says 2.5, but it's 3.5 stories. And from the street of my house, the main front of it's a crest. You can't see too much of the roof anyway. You have to get it from distinct angles to be able to even view it from the street. So when you talk that much money into a roof replacement on something you can barely see from the front, we've done a good job of maintaining the rest of the house. We do all the tours and everything at throughout the year, and it is one of the most appraised houses in the district as far as everything else we've done on the house. It's just for a roof replacement, it's just not realistic in our case, both again financially or the house across from us was 1,000 square feet. It's selling May 5th for $260,000. It's just you'll never get your investment back either, even if it was something that we could afford. And then really the only other thing to add in that is even in the review of the Virginia State overturned cases where it does affect military deployments in historical districts, there's been a precedent set for overturning those cases. Military members go overseas or deploy like I will be in December, attaching to a local ship. You run that risk just like we had with mold with one of those failures that will happen. And again, the military member's not there to watch their investment or the health and welfare of their family while they're deployed for those circumstances.
Any questions or comments? Which one is? Could you approach and just point to which one of these is your house? The biggest one in the middle?
This one here, sir.
That one and that's here.
Yes, sir, that's the back.
Okay, all right, thank you.
This is the biggest, tallest one?
Mm-hmm, in the middle. Oh, there's a square around there. I didn't see it.
And if I could elaborate on it, so the
Okay,
back.
no, your time's up.
Oh, yes, sir.
Questions, Ms. Simmons?
Yes, sir. If I could ask Mr. Baldwin a couple of questions
Sure.
from staff. Mr. Baldwin, could you refresh my memory, please, or the council's memory on, we had some similar issues to this that we've reviewed, and could you run those by us in the last 12 months? We had a
Right,
few
in
appeals similar.
the most recent appeals that have come before city council, similar request to replace the slate roof with architectural shingles, and council has approved the ones that have come to you before.
And were any of those in Port Norfolk, or were they all in
I
Parkview?
believe they were mostly, if not all, in Parkview.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Madam Clerk.
Council members, you have the ability to deliberate on this item. Otherwise, we're in need of a motion.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, sir. I got to think about the way I'm going to say this. I always like to explain when I do something that I'm not particularly happy about. I'm going to uphold the use of the architectural grade shingles, whichever way that motion is supposed to be. I don't really want to. I don't really like it. But I think the fact that we have approved those already for similar requests, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And so I will move to deny the,
To approve the appeal.
approve the appeal.
And we
hope
have a
that the
second.
Is there a
commission will
second?
Yes,
look
sir.
at more
Okay.
regulations sooner than later.
There's a motion and a second. Dr. Whitaker.
I just want to be clear, approving the appeal of the applicant.
Yes, sir.
Not the commission.
Correct.
Okay.
The applicant is appealing what the commission decided, so either you support or deny what the applicant
Okay.
is requesting.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the appeal, and you will vote electronically. This item is adopted 7-0. Council members, at this time, for the remainder of your work session, we will move to the conference room.
Okay. Thank you.
Star? Mayor,
Productivity has gone down for the rest of this day.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of City Council. During this evening's Public Works session, we have the third quarter financial report presented by Ms. Ellis Cowley, Chief Financial Officer. This report will detail various types of revenues and expenditures for the general fund and the city overall. Ms. Kelly.
Good evening, Mayor Wright, Vice Mayor Simmons, City Council members. Today we're presenting the third quarter financial report as of March 31st, 2016. And I wanted to mention that the reports are unaudited and on a cash basis. Slide one, the first report shows the general fund revenue compared to budget and compared to the previous year budget. And the second report provides the status of the major fund reports. For the quarter ending March 31st, revenues are tracking higher than last year as compared to the budget, and expenditure tracking over the budget. Under the budget. It is important when comparing year to year that we look at the comparison of budget to actual, not actual to actual, because occasionally we increase taxes or things happen where our budgets have changed. So when you compare year to year, you want to compare the budget to actual versus actual to actual. Okay, and then it's, some revenues that have increased or have done better than anticipated in the budget are ambulance billing, and we do have one or two revenues, miscellaneous revenues that have come in from land sales that have tracked a little bit better. Overall, our expenditures or encumbrance are 5.5% below the expected amount at the end of the third quarter. And while 75% of the years has lapsed, only 69% of the budget has been expended. And this is a good sign, because typically your expenditures run a little bit higher than budget and your revenues run a little bit lower than budget until the year end when you reconcile. So this is a very good sign. So in FY16, we anticipate budget savings that will replenish the fund balance for certain transfers that were made in July and August out of fund balance. We had about 651,000 budget transfers in July and August out of fund balance. So the savings we have in FY16 will replenish the fund balance for those transfers. And our budget theme this year has been review, reflect, and refocus. And so we've been diligently reviewing our cost and refocusing our efforts to save taxpayer dollars in our budget. And so this focus on accountability has been very strong. The city has had savings in a lot of different areas, including reducing cell phone usage, reducing office supplies, vacancy savings, changes to the way we do some contracting and review contracting. And so the other thing I wanted to point out is this is the third quarter, knock on wood, we won't have any major disasters or snowstorms, or hopefully we won't have any more snowstorms, but hurricanes and things like that. So, we've had a very mild year in terms of unusual expenditures too. And I'd be happy to take any questions or answer any questions.
Yes, the 2016, the last 2016 budget savings, we said we'll replenish. Is that a total replenishment of the fund balance?
We had, in July and August, we had $651,000 of budget transfers out of fund balance. And so the savings that we have in FY16 will replenish that, but it'll also help cover some of the anticipated or proposed in our FY17 budget bonuses that we have, so one-time expenditures.
Do we know what percentage of the bonuses that this will cover?
Not yet, and because it's the third quarter and, things happen, so I don't want to say exact number, but a good portion of it.
Good portion.
Yes, ma'am?
Is the state non-categorical aid, which is only at 20%, 22%, is that a timing issue?
That is a timing issue.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. Mr. Moore.
Mayor, given that this is certainly a positive report, even though it's third quarter, the fact that a lot of the one-time bonuses in the proposed 2017 budget could possibly be paid for. I want to bring up the issue of our retirees. Historically, retirees have gotten 50% of what general wages received, and usually that's on a percentage basis. If they get general wage gets 2%, retirees get 1%. Well, now we're doing the bonus, and so it's a dollar amount. I think if we're going to track and do what we've done in the past, they should get 50% of what general wages get. I think that's only fair.
So is that a request? Because
yes,
during the budget cycle, we can request staff to bring things back to us before we ratify the budget. So you're requesting that, Mr. Manager, if you could bring us back a cost of what
I shall.
the additional cost to give the retirees half of what we proposed for them. All right, very good, thank you. All right, any other questions or comments on the quarterly financial report? Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Manager. Thank
Yep,
you.
that's right. Things looking good. Let's not jinx the last quarter, right?
especially the snowstorms.
That's right. Snowstorms. I don't know, we're getting ready to go into hurricane season.
Yeah, that's the
Okay,
concern.
next up, Mr. Thomas.
So what is this? Okay.
This is an audit report on the recycling program and the landfill piece that we requested, what, a year ago, that actually was invoked by the council.
I don't think we could make better use of our time here tonight. If there's, I don't know the feeling of everybody else.
It's awful late in the game for that. And I think all it's going to do is create other discord that we don't really need right now.
What's that?
Just brief. So I think it's a little bit.
I agree.
May I ask a question?
Hold on, let me just make sure we get straight from the council. Are you saying you do not want to hear from his report, Mr. Chair?
That's what I'm saying.
Same here.
I do not.
You do not? Okay. You want to hear, okay, I want to hear it, okay. All right, you
Well,
do not want to hear it either? You do not, okay. All right.
Well, we got 4 of it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, very good.
Council members, there's no additional work session items?
I think we've got
Can I have
a motion for close.
Yes, I just have to get that. Yes, sir. Can't be in five places at one time.
I don't have it.
This one's a little shorter.
Yeah, whoever's the best reader. Actually, before we read this motion and go into close, I do want to notify the council members that today I received a unsolicited bid from Wheelabrator dealing with our waste disposal post-2018. I received the letter and turned it over to the attorney as well as the manager. Reading the letter, I met with them actually yesterday, and I'm just doing this for full disclosure because there's a process once you receive an unsolicited bid, and I think we've got to determine whether or not that's considered that. But I received the letter and turned it over to them. In the letter, there was a reference that per my request, and so I was stunned. So I contacted them, and they said, no, it was because we actually met yesterday. I'm doing all this for full disclosure. They resubmitted a second letter. So for the public record, there are 2 letters that I've turned over to the attorney, and I'm only saying all of this is, if this is considered an unsolicited bid, that no one on council should have any contact with this company until we go through the process, so there were no violations. So just for notification, Wheelabrator has submitted, and their subject is called an unsolicited proposal to continue with our waste post-2018. And so that's in the hands of our attorney as well as the manager. Okay? All right, somebody want, yes, ma'am?
Okay.
Just one thing to say before we get there, and I don't want to forget.
Okay.
I want to publicly say you did a wonderful job at the State of the City.
Oh, thank you.
The speech was good. You delivered it well.
Yeah.
It was all true. It wasn't too flowery. It was very well done.
You didn't tell the Virginia Public that?
I did.
Oh.
I absolutely did. I did indeed.
Thank you very much.
I think you did a good job.
And it was in the small print.
Yeah.
Let me just say, and I think I tried to articulate in our message that this is the work that not only the decisions that this council has made over the last year, but also the staff and the new staff that came in and hit the ground running. And so it really was pleasing on my behalf to be able to make that presentation. And I want to thank all of our folks. I mean, our assessor, you started out of the box with all of the great information with our new homes and the things that were going on, and it's just sometimes very discouraging to hear people misinforming the public or media about what's going on in our city, and to be able to talk about the accuracies and the things that was going on, it was well done. So Madam Manager, our assessor, and everybody else, thank you very much, and keep up the good work.
Mr. Pace and his team.
Yeah, his team, absolutely. But he says I never, what do you say? I don't read a speech, I deliver it. So I don't know what that means. The other mayors want to use those teleprompters. Not this guy. I want a speech, and I'll give it. And so, but yeah, thank you, Mr. Pace and your folks for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Moody.
Speaking of speeches, I'll read the motion for. I move to go into a closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code subsections 2.2-3711. A6 and A29 for the purpose of discussing the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds and the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the city and the financial interests of the city, specifically regarding existing and potential future contractual relationships with the Southeastern Public Service Authority for waste disposal services, and pursuant to Virginia Code subsection 2.2-3711A7 for the purpose of consulting with legal counsel employed by the city on specific matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel, specifically regarding potential claims related to the Virginia retirement system, and pursuant to Virginia Code subsection 2.2-3711A1 for the purpose of discussing assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, and salaries of employees of a public body, and evaluation of performance of department where such evaluation would necessarily involve the discussion of performance of specific individuals, specifically regarding realignment within the fire department.
Second.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Dr. Edmonds?
Yes.
Mr. Meeks?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mayor Wright?
Yes.
We are in close. Thank you.